Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sunset Salutations. We're going to begin today with an opening from 10% Happier by Dan Harris. When we last saw him, he was making good headway on his retreat, day 9. In the morning question and answer session, Goldstein redeems himself with a little humor. In exhorting us not to tune out during these closing hours of the retreat, he says, they're like the dessert, just maybe not the dessert you ordered. As he presses his case, he says something that bugs me. He urges us not to spend too much time thinking about the stuff we have to do when the retreat is over. It's a waste of time, he says. They're just thoughts. This provokes me to raise my hand for the first time. From the back of the echoey hall, in full-on reporter mode, with my over-loud voice apparently not atrophied one bit from disuse, I ask, how can you advise us not to worry about the things we have to do when we re-enter the world? If I miss my plane, that's a genuine problem. These are not just irrelevant thoughts. Fair enough, he concedes. But when you find yourself running through your trip to the airport for the 17th time, perhaps ask yourself the following question. Is this useful? His answer is so smart. I involuntarily jolt back into my chair and smile. Is this useful? It's a simple, elegant corrective to my price of security motto. It's okay to worry, plot, and plan, he's saying, but only until it's not useful anymore. I've spent the better part of my life trying to balance my penchant for maniacal overthinking with the desire for peace of mind. And here, with one little phrase, Goldstein has handed me what seems like a hugely constructive tool for taming this impulse without throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Achieving choiceless awareness may have been the most dramatic moment of the retreat, but this is unquestionably the most useful. Day 10. I awake to the smell of freedom. Today is a half day. We do some meditation in the morning, and then we break silence. The teachers warned us that the real world would seem clangorous and jangly after 10 days of silence. I turn on my BlackBerry and devour my email with curiosity more than dread. I visit my sister-in-law and enjoy being climbed on by her 2 children. On the plane, I binge on TV shows on my iPhone. The habits of a lifetime reassert themselves with astonishing speed. It may have been one of, if not the most meaningful experiences of my life, but I was nonetheless ready for it to end. One of the things that really resonates with me about that passage, when he talks about, is it useful? And finding that point at which you know the worry has gone from bringing you to preparedness to bringing you anxiety. And I hope that we will find ways to utilize it and aid us as we move forward in this practice and move forward in this time where so much could induce worry or anxiety. Maybe when something comes up over the next few days, we might find an opportunity to think, I think I've worried about this enough. It's no longer useful. I'm going to move my cushion here, and I'm going to find my legs fully together on the mat with my feet nearly touching the end of it. Good. And I'm going to sit all the way back here with my fingers up. And I just want to take a moment to notice the passage of breath in this position. It really grants us an opportunity to feel the low belly expand and release. With no constriction on the back, you might also notice the way the lungs fill against the back ribs and the side body expands. These are all things to return to with curiosity when we find ourselves meditating. Good. I'm going to shift my weight forward here. I'm going to place my hands flatly against the mat. I'm going to pick my knees up here for a true upward dog. Good. Allowing the knees to fall back onto the mat and shifting my weight back again. Breathing here. Now find your weight firmly rooted all the way back. Push your energy all the way through to the fingertips. Activating the arms fully here. And releasing. Finding your elbows on the mat. Bringing the hands up to prayer. I'm just going to shift from left to right here. Releasing any tension in the neck. Shaking the head no. Shaking the head yes. Good. Finding your hands back on the mat. Coming up and rounding. On the inhale, arching and looking up. And rounding. Good. Coming up to all fours. And just finding a little more space, about shoulder width apart for your knees here. And wagging the tail, spotting with the head. Other way. Good. And arching and looking for the sky. Arching and looking for the sky. Good. Lifting that left leg up and just turning it in its place. Good. Switch. Taking that right one up and turning it in its place. Good. Finding yourself sitting here, just feeling that grounding sensation. And twisting towards the right. Deep breath in, finding length. And exhale, twist more. Good. And switch other side, deep breath in, finding length. And twisting towards the left. One more breath here. And returning towards the center. Allowing the head to fall towards the right, stretching the left side of the neck, bringing the right arm up and over. Trying to take any curve out of the back, finding a long spine, and switching other way. And let's begin. Grabbing my cushion here. And taking my seat. Doing a quick scan from the top of the head down towards the feet. Just noting any areas of tension or muscularity overexerting itself, and see if instead you could trust the alignment that we just found and utilize your skeletal structure without the added work of the muscles. Good. On your next inhale, see if you can grow taller in the spine. Placing the skull squarely on top. Allowing it to feel weightless and lifted. Finding yourself squarely on your sit bones. Grounding into the earth. Allowing the pace of the day to fall away. And centering yourself in the present. When you're ready, allow the eyes to close. Find your attention squarely on the breath. Noticing how the air is traveling through the body. What's moving easily, what feels locked up. Today, rather than utilizing a mantra, I'd like you to try visualizing your breath as a color. Whatever feels right to you. And watching with each inhalation as the body fills more deeply and vibrantly with this color. When the mind begins to wander away from the breath, release any judgment, simply note it, and find yourself curious again about the passing of each inhalation and exhalation. Find yourself curious about the nooks and crannies the color can fill, and equally curious without judgment about any areas blocked. Unable to be filled with the color of your choosing. Remind yourself to continue to note without judgment. Open yourself to the possibility that the observation of the color filling spots is no different in quality or experience than the noticing of the obstacles. Allow the image to grow more and more vivid with each passing breath. When you're ready, release the concentration on the visualization and simply note whatever the mind brings to your attention. When you're ready, bring your focus back to the body. Notice the feeling of your legs against the mat, the weight of your hands on your legs, the positioning of your body, and when it feels good, wiggle your fingers and toes and allow the eyes to open. I encourage you during this time to find yourself lying on your side. We're going to do a quick emotional body scan when you're ready. Finding yourself fully at ease physically, make yourself comfortable against the mat. Taking the fetal position. Enjoying the comfort of the body position and feeling grounded against the floor. Begin at the top of the head and remember the color you chose. Scan through the body and notice how the simple thought of the color changes anything about the physical body or any of your emotive states. Allow the color to travel through the throat. And now the chest, noting all the time what's happening both physically and emotionally here as the color travels through you. Spreading the color now to your shoulders and now your arms and upper body and your forearms and your tummy and your mid-back and your wrists and your hands and your fingers and your waist and your hips and your pelvis and the upper part of your leg and your knees and your lower leg and your ankle and your feet and your toes. Just notice now the effect of the color on the whole body and on how you're feeling. If you have found a color that feels pleasant to you, remember that you can find this visualization at any time. You have access to it off the cushion whenever you want. You can conjure it just as you have. If you found a color that feels unpleasant in any way, note it. See if you can separate yourself from the feeling of the color. If you can detach from it. Acknowledge that it's with you. While understanding its impermanence. On a deep exhale, watch as it leaves the body and see if you can imagine holding it in your hand. Try to see the feeling as something that was once a part of you, as something external, an object, something fully separate from yourself. On your own time, find a way to release it, perhaps blowing it away. Regardless of your experience, there's much to be gained from learning to cultivate physical and emotional feelings, as well as letting them go. This practice of meditation is powerful, and this is one of the ways you can utilize it to your benefit. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Sunset Salutations.